When a child might be in danger, we place our absolute trust in a specific process. We expect the child welfare system to step in, turn on the bright lights, and investigate the threat. But what happens when a mother points that light at an unsafe foster placement? The system snaps the spotlight backward, blinding the very person asking for help. In early 2024, Alexis Landrum's infant daughter, Everleigh Grace, was separated from her biological family. Before Everleigh could even take her first steps, decisions made by strangers completely removed her from the people who loved her most. A family has a basic human right to know that their child is alive and secure. Instead, Alexis and her family were met with a terrifying state-mandated silence. Their infant daughter simply vanished behind closed doors and case numbers. Alexis calls this the disconnect. It is the psychological toll of memorizing the legal rules and tracking the case files while having absolutely no idea what your child ate that day or who comforts her when she wakes up scared at night. Her immediate objective is verification. She wants to know her daughter is safe, prioritizing this basic visibility over complex legal maneuvering or relitigating her entire case through emails. The responses she gets expose a glaring institutional hypocrisy. When state agencies fail to return calls or provide updates, they excuse it as a heavy workload. But if a parent misses a deadline or reacts with frustration, they are penalized for non-compliance. The bureaucracy of child welfare expects parents to simply sit quietly and wait. It is designed to treat a mother's persistent, anxious love as an administrative liability. In this public post, we see Everleigh's severe reality. She was placed into an unlicensed home with serious sexual abuse allegations. Yet, despite law enforcement intervention and documented complaints, a judge ordered the infant right back into that exact same environment. Alexis did exactly what society instructs protective mothers to do. She trusted her instincts, reported the danger, asked for help, and refused to stay quiet. The system retaliated by assigning her a label. Because she asked too many questions, they labeled her difficult. It is a calculated word used to shrink a person's credibility and shift the focus away from the state's dangerous placement decisions. That label triggered severe physical and legal consequences. Alexis was actively discredited, bounced between Collin and Grayson counties on confusing, void warrants, and eventually jailed. The process was weaponized to exhaust her resources and intimidate her into silence. When an abuse allegation is administratively inconvenient, the system closes ranks. Institutions will actively choose to protect their own reputations and penalize a speaking parent, rather than admit a catastrophic failure. This excerpt outlines the myth of the perfect parent, an impossible standard demanding a caregiver who never experiences hardship or failure. The text explains how the state weaponizes a parent's past, where a single mistake defines a person forever in the eyes of the court. But as this document highlights, the system operates on a completely different set of rules for itself. It reduces its own patterned neglect and intentional betrayals to simple mistakes, and then demands the mother offer her forgiveness and patience. Forgiveness without accountability or remorse functions as erasure. It allows the system to overwrite the reality of a child's trauma with a narrative of administrative convenience. This is the ultimate double standard. Traumatized parents are forced to meet an absolute standard of perfection, while the agencies tearing their families apart operate with zero accountability. Parents across the country report the same cycle: children in unlicensed homes, ignored complaints, and mothers labeled difficult for refusing to stay silent. Alexis's experience is part of this documented pattern of institutional failure. While the adults argue over paperwork and case plans, a childhood is being lost. Thousands of first steps, quiet moments, and birthdays are vanishing into state care, never to be recreated. Surviving this process burned away any illusions Alexis had about the government rescuing families. But the fire didn't destroy her. It forced her to grow, exposing a deep resilience and forging her into an unrelenting advocate for her daughter. A family does not have to forgive an abusive process to heal from it. Real justice does not require absolution. It requires absolute visibility for the child. Alexis never wanted to make her family's private pain public. But when internal complaints go nowhere and courts refuse to correct obvious danger, public outcry becomes the very last line of defense. That is why you need to visit the Justice for Everleigh Grace platform right now. Read her story and sign the public petition demanding her safe return to her family. As listed in this call to action, the demands are clear. The public must force courts and agencies to provide transparency, enforce strict accountability, and permanently stop prioritizing quick placements over a child's actual safety. Silence is the exact mechanism that allows abuse to thrive behind closed doors. Speaking up is the only way to finally bring Everleigh Grace home. When a child might